Rory McIlroy has allegedly united several top PGA Tour players behind an ultimatum demanding that Brian Rolapp lose major decision-making power. The reported document directly challenges Rolap's control over the 2028 Championship and Challenger Series, particularly the rules covering qualification, relegation, schedules, and player access. Rory's group reportedly believes one executive should not be allowed to redesign careers without stronger player approval. Now Rolap faces an ugly choice: share power or risk open rebellion from the stars carrying the tour's rating, sponsors, and ticket sales. Do you support Rory, or are the biggest players protecting their own positions? Either way, this is no longer a quiet disagreement over tournament formats. It is a direct fight over who controls professional golf. Subscribe right now, because we are breaking down the ultimatum's alleged demands, the players supporting Rory, and why Rolap may be losing the locker room before his new system even reaches the first tee. The central demand is simple: no major change should become final without meaningful player approval. Not another friendly survey. Not another conference call where players speak for an hour before management thanks them and carries on anyway. Rory's alleged alliance wants actual authority over decisions affecting qualification, relegation, tournament access, field sizes, and the overall schedule. That would place a direct limit on Rolap's power. His approved 2028 model divides PGA Tour competition into two levels. The Championship Series will contain stronger events and leading players. Beneath it, the Challenger Series will provide another pathway toward promotion. Golfers can rise through strong performances, but those near the bottom can also fall. Officials believe that movement will create urgency. Television executives probably see dramatic graphics, tense leaderboards, and enough promotion arrows to decorate an airport terminal. Players see their livelihoods. A golfer suffering through one poor season could lose access to the richest tournaments. Lower exposure could then weaken his sponsorship value. Smaller purses would increase the financial pressure already created by travel, coaching, accommodation, and caddy costs. Rolap calls his model sharper competition. Rory's alleged group seems to view it as a career-changing machine without enough breaks. That difference explains why this conflict has become so serious. McIlroy is not an ordinary tour member grumbling after a bad round. He has spent years serving as one of professional golf's strongest public voices. When the sport divided during the fight with Live Golf, Rory repeatedly defended the PGA Tour and answered questions many executives appeared delighted to avoid. Eventually, the political burden became exhausting. Rory stepped away from the PGA Tour Policy Board, openly admitting that the work was consuming too much time and energy. Frankly, nobody could blame him. Golf had started producing more meetings than birdies. Leaving that position, however, did not remove his influence. When Rory speaks, other players listen. Sponsors notice. Broadcasters build entire segments around his comments. Fans begin arguing before he has even walked away from the microphone. Consequently, Rolap cannot treat an alleged Rory-led ultimatum like ordinary locker room noise. If several leading golfers have genuinely joined this effort, the opposition is organized, powerful, and commercially dangerous. Here is Rolap's real problem. His new structure cannot succeed if the stars refuse to sell it. Imagine the Championship Series launching without enthusiastic support from the players expected to carry it. The tournaments could still happen. Prize funds could remain enormous. Officials could describe every announcement as historic, because sports executives apparently receive a bonus each time they use that word. Yet audiences recognize forced excitement. Fans can tell when players believe in a format and when they are simply fulfilling contractual obligations. Sponsors can see it as well. A divided locker room would follow Rolap's prized new system into every press conference, broadcast, and promotional event. Rory's group understands that leverage. Leading golfers generate ratings, ticket sales, highlights, rivalries, and international interest. Executives may construct the stage, but nobody buys a Sunday ticket to watch an executive adjust cells on a spreadsheet. That gives the players bargaining power. The alleged ultimatum reportedly seeks formal checks on decisions governing membership and competition. In practical terms, Rory's side does not want Rolap running the PGA Tour like the owner of a normal sports league. Golf operates differently. NFL teams possess permanent places within their league. Owners employ athletes, negotiate contracts, and provide guaranteed salaries in many situations. PGA Tour golfers compete as independent contractors. They cover their professional expenses and earn money through performance. One rule change can transform an entire career. Picture a player ranked 70th after several difficult months. He is not a global celebrity, but he remains one of the finest golfers alive. Under a tighter system, he could lose championship series access, fall into weaker events, appear less frequently on television, and become less valuable to sponsors. His caddy feels that drop too. So does his coach. His manager sees fewer opportunities. His family watches financial security disappear because streamlining the product sounded attractive during a boardroom presentation. That human impact cannot be ignored. Promotion and relegation are not automatically unfair. Strong performances should earn rewards, while poor results should carry consequences. Golf has always demanded results. The issue is who writes those rules, who can alter them, and who possesses the power to stop a dangerous decision before careers are damaged. Rory's alleged ultimatum targets that exact weakness. It reportedly argues that consultation alone is not enough. Players want binding influence rather than ceremonial seats at meetings where the final decision is already sitting inside somebody's briefcase. A seat at the table means nothing when the chair has no legs. Now consider the timing. Why would Rory and other leading players confront Rolap before the new structure begins? Waiting until 2028 could leave them powerless. Once tournaments sign agreements, broadcasters adjust schedules, sponsors commit budgets, and qualifying systems become fixed, reversing the model will be far harder. Management could answer every complaint with the oldest excuse in professional sports: the process has gone too far. Players have heard that sentence before. Acting now allows them to shape the system while important details remain unsettled. Field sizes, qualification routes, exemptions, promotion places, relegation rules, injury protection, and playoff access will determine whether the structure rewards merit or protects a narrow group. Still, Rory's position creates an uncomfortable question. Is this campaign really designed to protect every PGA Tour member, or mainly its biggest stars? McIlroy and other elite golfers are unlikely to worry about relegation personally. Their victories, rankings, exemptions, and commercial importance provide security that ordinary members do not possess. Critics could argue that famous players want more authority because they fear losing influence, not their tour cards. Perhaps they want schedules built around their preferred events. Maybe they desire larger purses, fewer playing requirements, and greater freedom to travel internationally. Cynics will claim this so-called player movement is a private club requesting a stronger lock for its front gate. That criticism deserves attention. On one hand, Rory has enough power to challenge management without risking his livelihood. On the other hand, that may be precisely why he should lead the fight. A player ranked 130th cannot easily attack the officials controlling his tournament access. He needs powerful golfers to raise concerns that weaker voices may be afraid to mention. If Rory is using his position to defend fair qualification, open pathways, and real voting rights, then his alleged stand deserves respect. However, if the ultimatum merely creates extra privileges for established stars, the rebellion becomes much less heroic. It would be millionaires arguing with executives over who receives the larger steering wheel. That is why the document's exact wording matters. Does it protect golfers in both series? Would players receive independent representation? Could a small group of stars block decisions affecting everyone else? Who selects the player representatives? How long would they serve? And whose interests would they protect? Those details separate fair reform from a celebrity takeover. Hit the like button if you believe every PGA Tour member, not merely its biggest names, deserves a genuine voice before the 2028 rules become permanent. Rolap's position must also receive a fair examination. The PGA Tour has spent years trying to make ordinary tournaments feel more important. Major championships naturally attract enormous attention. The Ryder Cup feels personal and intense. Final rounds featuring recognizable stars bring casual viewers toward their screens. Regular events often struggle when leading golfers skip them or miss the cut. Rolap's Championship Series attempts to solve that problem through consistently stronger fields. The Challenger Series is supposed to create a clear route upward for golfers chasing elite status. In theory, every tournament gains a purpose. The top level becomes a season-long battle among leading players. The second level becomes a fight for promotion. Relegation adds consequences, while upward movement gives developing golfers hope. That is not automatically an evil plan created in a dark office. Stronger fields could provide better entertainment. Clearer pathways might help fans understand what each result means. Players performing well would face the best competition more frequently, yet good ideas can become terrible systems when one group controls every important detail. Rolap's NFL background makes the tension sharper. Football succeeds through central authority, fixed franchises, negotiated schedules, and firm league rules. Golf developed through individual freedom, open qualification, different tournament identities, and the belief that one brilliant week could change an unknown player's life. Turning golf into football with smaller balls might improve television consistency while damaging the sport's identity. A golfer is not a franchise. No permanent team protects his place after a poor season. Nobody guarantees his earnings because a club signed him for 5 years. When his status disappears, he travels backward through the system and finances that journey himself. That distinction cannot be buried beneath shiny branding. Rolap may see executive authority as essential for making fast and consistent decisions. Rory's alleged alliance views the same authority as a threat to the tour's merit-based foundations. Both sides can claim they are protecting golf. Only one side must stand over a 6-foot putt knowing that missing could affect next season's employment. Publicly, Rolap has promoted the 2028 structure as a stronger competitive system offering meaningful movement between its two series. Scottie Scheffler has also expressed support for the possibility of improved competition. Scheffler's opinion carries enormous weight because he is one of the few players whose influence can match Rory's. Nevertheless, supporting the general structure does not mean approving every detail. Someone can welcome stronger fields while demanding fair qualification. A player may accept relegation while opposing unchecked executive control. Another could support a new schedule but insist upon binding player votes. Professional golf cannot be divided into two perfectly neat camps. That makes the alleged signature list crucial. If Rory has support only from players already known to distrust management, Rolap can describe this revolt as noise from a predictable corner. Should golfers who initially welcomed his structure join the ultimatum, the situation becomes far more threatening. Imagine major champions, respected veterans, and player advisory council members standing together. Rolap would then confront something no polished presentation could erase: broad resistance from the people expected to make his product successful. Refusing to negotiate under those circumstances could look arrogant. Accepting every demand might also weaken Rolap before his biggest project begins. Future decisions could become trapped inside endless player politics. Different interests might delay reforms, protect popular golfers, or produce confusing rules designed by committee. Anyone who has watched a committee choose lunch knows how quickly that can become tragic. Rolap must therefore create a balance. Leadership needs enough authority to operate effectively, while players require genuine power over policies controlling their careers. Finding that balance will decide whether the 2028 model launches with trust or resentment. The PGA Tour's greatest danger is not Rory defeating Rolap. It is both sides damaging one another until nobody trusts the finished system. Professional golf has already survived years of division, legal fights, private negotiations, shifting alliances, and promises that appeared to change monthly. Fans became tired of boardroom drama when they simply wanted to watch golf. Another civil war would reopen every wound. Sponsors dislike uncertainty. Tournament organizers need stable commitments. Lower-ranked players require clear qualification routes. Caddies need dependable schedules. Viewers need reasons to care about competition rather than another argument between wealthy men wearing expensive polo shirts. If the alleged ultimatum becomes public, both sides must respond directly. Rolap must clarify which decisions require player approval, while Rory's group must prove its demands protect the entire membership, especially golfers outside the top 50. Fans deserve clear answers about field sizes, promotion, relegation, injury exemptions, tournament access, and protected categories. These rules will determine whether the PGA Tour remains a meritocracy or becomes a closed show for familiar stars. Ironically, both sides may want stronger tournaments featuring the best players. Their real dispute is over-control, representation, and executive limits. Rolap risks appearing weak if he surrenders authority, but refusing compromise could unite players against him. Rory also needs broad support from vulnerable, lower-ranked tour members. Their response matters more than private applause from superstars. If those golfers support Rory's alleged ultimatum, this becomes a genuine battle for player rights. Should they believe the famous names are building a protected circuit, Rory's campaign faces a major credibility problem. Ultimately, one question decides this fight. Will the new system reward excellent golf or existing power? Rolap must prove talented outsiders can rise. Rory must show that his alliance represents more than famous players. Above all, the tour must treat golfers as partners rather than products. A compromise remains possible. Rolap could control operations while player representatives receive binding votes on qualification, relegation, and membership rules. Voices could represent golfers across both series, preventing unfair policies from becoming permanent. That arrangement would not destroy leadership. It could give the new structure something it badly needs: trust. Pride could push this conflict in the opposite direction. Rolap might reject limits on his authority, while Rory's group could oppose the system. More players may choose sides, sponsors could apply pressure, and the tour could enter 2028 with its biggest stars attacking the product they are expected to sell. That would be spectacularly foolish. Golf has an opportunity to build a clearer competitive future. Wasting it on a boardroom power struggle would be like reaching a par 5 in 2 and then putting directly into a bunker. So, whose side are you taking? Is Rory protecting players from unchecked executive power? Or are the tour's biggest stars trying to seize control? Rolap wanted to reshape professional golf. Now he must decide whether that requires sharing authority with the athletes inside his plan. Compromise could protect the new model. Arrogance could destroy support before 2028 arrives. Like this video, subscribe, and drop your verdict in the comments. Should Rolap surrender some authority, or should Rory stay out of tour management? Make sure you are subscribed, because we will break down the next development in this escalating PGA Tour power struggle.